gentlemen, how far is too far to go viral? To get likes, to get subscribers? Does freedom of speech give anyone the right to offend others? Where is the Laxman Rekha between comedy and vulgarity? As you just heard, a YouTuber and influencer, a very, very popular one at that, Ranveer Allahbadia, who goes by the username of Biceps, made a joke about one's mother and father and their relationship. I don't want to repeat what he said because this is a family viewing show. You heard it for yourself. But it was an incestuous joke which left his fellow panelists on the show, India's Got Latent, laughing out loud. Many of them were clapping, including Ranveer Allahbadia, because they thought it was a really great joke, great comedy, great tickling, rib-tickling humor, all of that. But many across the nation have felt outraged. They say that this is crass and vulgar and not comedy, that the very fabric of Indian society and sanskar have been mocked. After multiple complaints, Mumbai police has now lodged an inquiry against the YouTuber. Not just in Mumbai, one inquiry also launched in Assam, where FIRs have been registered. The other panelists and the organizers of the show are facing the music for promoting obscenity and engaging in sexually explicit and vulgar discussions. The Maharashtra Women's Commission has asked the police to file an FIR, and sources say the INB ministry may soon issue a show-cause notice to take down the inappropriate content. Meanwhile, the National Human Rights Commission has also sent a notice to YouTube to remove the video, calling it obscene, intolerant, inappropriate, vulgar and discriminatory. Of course, there are some who defended his freedom of speech, saying if you don't like it, don't watch it. But the podcaster himself felt probably he crossed the line, or maybe he was just trying to mitigate the backlash that could cost him maybe a few million followers that he already has. Ranveer Allahbadia put out a video saying sorry and that comedy is not his forte. He made a bad judgment. Watch this.
My comment wasn't just inappropriate, it wasn't even funny. Comedy is not my forte. I'm just here to say sorry. I promise to just get better. I've asked the makers of the video to remove the insensitive sections from the video. And all I can say in the end is, I'm sorry. I hope you can forgive me.
Ladies and gentlemen, we here at Times Now are all for freedom of speech. It is the one, tonic that we live on. We want our freedom of speech. We want to uncover uncomfortable truths. We want to put out what people need to know. It's all very fine, and I have nothing against Biceps or the other panelists. All of them, young people, find a new way of creating content. More power to them. But while this is our right, freedom of speech is our right, should it be absolute? Are there no lines? Should there be no responsibility on their shoulders? Should there be no self-regulation, something that we do on a daily, on a minute-to-minute basis? I could come here and in the need to go viral, do any nonsense on television. But do I do that? Can I do that? Do I not hold my responsibility on my shoulders? So shouldn't these content creators also feel responsible? Should they want themselves to be dictated only by laws, or should they also have their own responsibility is the question. What comes with the right? Responsibility, or is it an absolute right to put out vulgarity in the name of virality of content and getting millions of subscribers? Ranveer Allahbadia or Biceps may have apologized, but is this enough? What about his responsibility? Sample this. His channel has 10.5 million YouTube subscribers and 3.5 million Insta followers. His Biceps channel, as you can see, has millions of YouTube and Insta followers, Facebooks and X followers, as well as the shows that he and Samay Raina put out. They have hundreds of millions of subscribers and followers and views, almost going up to 50 million views of the content that they put out. especially on this show called India's Got Talent. And overall, views that really put this viewership at such a colossal level that almost 5 crore people watch them consume their videos. The video is neither designated an adult content, so it would be accessible to children, and not just on television, now on their smartphones, because every child has a smartphone. Every youngster has a smartphone. Everyone on the street has a smartphone. But this is not the first time that this show, India's Got Talent, has got into controversy. On 16th of December 2024, a comedian made fun of Deepika Padukone's depression. Jokes were also cracked on the RGK Medical College rape and murder case in December. In fact, jokes on rapes. Now, is that the new creativity of content creators and so-called influencers? And is that kosher? Urfi Javed was asked such personal questions that she had to leave the show midway. Ha 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 ha. Everybody can laugh, have a great time. Urfi is great target because she wears the kind of clothes, she's available on social media on the kind of clothes she wears. So soft target, go for it. Comedy for you. Well, great creativity and content, that is. Really? You want India to sit back and clap? And you want us to just keep quiet while there are some who want to consume this content? On 5th of February 2025, a contestant on this show made comments on dog meat, following which an FIR was also filed. All this in the name of comedy? Really? Ha ha! The Maharashtra Chief Minister and even leading voices of the entertainment industry feel that comedy can't be at the expense of decency. Watch this.
अभिव्यक्ति इसकी भी कोई मर्यादाएं है, अगर उनको कोई पार करता है तो ये बहुत गलत बात है। अगर ऐसी कोई बात होती है तो उसके ऊपर कार्रवाई होनी चाहिए।
संविधान के अंदर, हमारे विधान के अंदर कानूनी रूप से जो भी प्रक्रियाएं हैं, जो भी दंड प्रक्रिया है, फौरन उसको वो करना चाहिए।
ये ऐसे कंटेंट्स हैं जिसे आप अपने परिवार के साथ बैठकर देख नहीं सकते। मैं अथॉरिटी से गुजारिश करूंगा कि ऐसे कंटेंट्स पर फौरन प्रतिबंध लगाया जाए।
ये इस टाइप के जितने भी पब्लिक डोमेन पर गंदी बात करते हैं या वल्गर बातें करते हैं, जितने भी लोग हैं, ये इन सबको जेल में डालना चाहिए।
ये सवाल है ज़हनियत का कि आपके अंदर आपकी सोच कितनी गंदी है। बहुत निचले स्तर की बात थी।
There have been similar controversies in the past as well. Comedian Munawwar Farooqi was arrested for allegedly mocking Hindu deities. Influencer Veer Das faced a complaint for insulting India in his monologue, Two Indias. In 2017, comedian Tanmay Bhatt tweeted a meme of Prime Minister Modi with a dog filter for which he was booked. On your screens, you can see more such examples where entertainment was deemed to be offensive. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking to you tonight as a mother. As a mother of grown-up children, young children, children who have smartphones, children who would be using this content for humor. You might have even younger children, children in class 6, 7, 8, in that age group, 14, 15. What are they watching on YouTube is not something you can police all the time. And what are they watching? And what is being served to them in this particular video? It is the private life of parents. Yes, parents could be their own, their personal bedroom life, and jokes on that. Well, you want them to consume that? If you don't, join me in asking the legitimate question. And the Motorola legitimate question on the Newshour tonight. Did beer biceps cross the Laxman Rekha? That's the question, and that's the debate coming up on the other side.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
Joining the debate tonight, Tehseen Poonawala, close friend of Ranveer Allahbadia. Also joining the debate, Suhail Seth, columnist, marketing guru, advocate Satyam Surana, complainant in this particular case, Gaurav Taneja, YouTuber and social media influencer, Flying Beast, from Beer Biceps to Flying Beast. Let's looking forward to hearing him. Also joining me this evening, my friend RJ Naved, radio jockey, 98.3 Radio Mirchi. With me this evening, also Deepika Bharadwaj, documentary filmmaker and activist. But my first question goes to Abhijit Iyer Mitra. And Abhijit Iyer Mitra, I'm not a sanskari principal with a stick in my hand wanting to take away people's freedom of speech. But I want to ask you, where do we draw the line? We have kids. Many people have kids who are consuming this content. Should we not be bothered about where we draw the line about what comedy is? Abhijit?
Drawing the line, Navika, comes at where violence begins. That has always been the barometer of free speech. Sartan se juda is crossing the line. Making crude, dirty jokes is not crossing the line. Now, here is the issue. If parents don't have the time to police what their children watch, you expect the state to get in. मम्मी खुद पुलिस नहीं कर सकती है, क्या बेटा कर रहा है तो नरेंद्र मोदी जी या प्रधानमंत्री बैठ के पुलिस करेंगे क्या हर यूट्यूबर कंटेंट कर रहा है? How does this even work? This is not a state subject. Vulgarity, sure, I mean, I didn't find it funny, that's a different matter, but I completely respect his right to do what he did. I genuinely didn't find it funny.
No,
okay,
you didn't find it funny, fair. And I am definitely not somebody who supports government intervention, police intervention. I don't support that. But I want to ask you today, what about self-regulation? We do it all the time on television. We do it all the time. Self-regulation, because we carry the responsibility on our shoulders. Where is Ranveer Allahbadia and Samer Raina's own responsibility on this issue, or anything in the name of content?
This was regulated. First, it was a ticketed show. So you obviously knew who was coming in. You had to be a certain age to purchase the ticket. Second, this was under a pay filter. This was subscriber content. Now, if you go into YouTube and click subscriber, ultimately, you know, at some point, the parent has to take responsibility if they've given 5,000 rupees on the Apple or Apple Store or the Google Play Store to the kid to click yes for subscribe. Right? So this was very much filtered. Who said it wasn't filtered? It was completely filtered. But here we have the case of it is behind a paywall. It is also a ticketed program. But in spite of that, you should, if anybody needs to be punished, we need to find out who the originator of this video clip is, who then put it up on WhatsApp and made it viral. Pakdo usko aur jail pe dalo.
Correct. Okay. So the guy who put it on WhatsApp should be in jail. Wahan state can come in, but not Ranveer Allahbadia or Samer Raina.
If anyone has to go to jail, if you want to send somebody to jail, then find that person. Because this is not it. That said, let me just come up with this. Have you seen this shocking thing that this fellow has tweeted? I don't know who this gentleman is. He's now literally calling for the death penalty for Ranveer Allahbadia.
No, well, you know, that is another extreme, and I'm in no way supporting anybody who's going crazy about asking for death penalties for people like this. Certainly not. I'm here because I'm a content creator myself. I am here to question where is the responsibility and where is the line. After all, Ranveer Allahbadia, Samer Raina are no novices. They know this business. These things do get leaked. These things find their way to every single platform, and they should know. After all, I don't do a show which I don't want, things to go out. We are public personalities using platforms. We are content creators. But Gaurav Taneja, Flying Beast, what is your view on Beer Biceps? Is this pressure on creating more subscribers, more views, so the more viral you go, the more irreverent you are? That is really the temptation for going on this road.
Hi Navika, good evening. Definitely, I think there is a pressure all the time on every creator to create more viral content. Samay Raina's show has been doing well. Every show is getting 20 million plus views, and every creator knows that. And it's like Samay is connecting more to the Gen Z audience. Of Gen Z audience, they have no filter. And Ranveer has been a different kind of guy. The main question why the outrage on Ranveer's response is people are confused. They have been seeing Ranveer making reels on spirituality, adhyatma, in Prayagraj, on Himalayas, on snow-covered mountains, covering sadhus, their stories. People are confused. What is real? What he said on the show, is that Ranveer, or what he was showing is that Ranveer? Number two, I totally agree there has to be a self-regulation. You cannot expect an agency to regulate everything on the internet. Ranveer, Samay, we have been on the internet for 7-8 years. When you go to a show, you cannot say it's a ticketed show. ये तो बंद दरवाजे में हुआ था, इसमें members only के लिए था. If there are 200 people sitting in an audience, it's a public platform. It can go public. Everybody has a mobile phone. You cannot say वो 200 लोग थे तो ये public नहीं था. जिसने clip डाली उसको जेल में डालो. Once you say anything on that show, it takes about 7 to 8 days to go live. There is an editing process which goes. हम बोलते हैं कि सबके अंदर भगवान बैठा है. आप वो शो करके आए हैं, you said something which was irrelevant. I agree something on the stage. There is a pressure. There are 5 panelists on the show. You want to be the more funny so that you get more screen time. You might have said something which was inappropriate, which was absolutely absurd. When you go home, you sleep that night. After 2-3 days, वो अंदर जो भगवान बोलता है ना बैठा है, he tells you कि boss, you have not, that was something which you should not have said. You should have gone back to Samay, said Samay, that was not appropriate. Please उसको edit में काट देना. I have worked on the roasting shows. Once the entire clips gets edited, they send it to the creator or the artist who was on the show. Are you okay with this edit? If he says yes, then that goes live. If that was the case, Samay must have shared that with Beer Biceps. I can let it go कि Beer Biceps ने कुछ बोल दिया which should not have been said, but when that edited clip must have gone to him and he gave a go ahead or a green signal कि yes, I'm okay with what I have said, then I have a problem. There was a joke on some late-end show which Samay cracked about me and my wife when this divorce rumor was on the internet. Samay asked me, boss, brother, I'm making this joke. Are you okay with it? Even for one joke, he asked me, which was a normal joke. So I'm sure he must have asked Beer Biceps ki, should I keep this? And he must have said, yeah, go ahead. So I think that is a real problem. Ki aapne bol diya, it's okay. But then once you are settled, and then you said, okay, go ahead with this clip. I'm shocked I have known Ranveer for a very long time. He is not that kind of a person. What made him say that, I'm shocked.
I'll tell you what made him say that. And let me expose this on the Newshour tonight. Let me just play out the video because this is not Ranveer Allahbadia's original thought, original creation, original content. It is part and picked up lock, stock and barrel from a show called Truth or Drink on YouTube channel, Alan vs. Sam. Please sample it for yourself right here on the show. So here it is. It has been picked up from YouTube. There is a show, verbatim the words have been picked up. They have been played out on that. Where is the question of anybody making an error of judgment or comedy is not my forte? RJ Naved, in this, do you find any scope for that? Because it's picked up lock, stock and barrel and cut, copy, paste. Is Ranveer Allahbadia doing this deliberately and then wanting us to, forgive him because he said sorry?
Navika, एक चीज तो मैं बिल्कुल क्लियर हूं इस सोच में. मिसाल के तौर पे मुझे नहीं मालूम कि उनकी इंटेंशन क्या थी, लेकिन आपने क्लिप दिखाई तो ये जरूर लग रहा है कि ये चीज पहले से उन्होंने देखी है और उनको मालूम है कि ये कहने से थोड़ी सी मेरी व्यूअरशिप बढ़ सकती है. मैं आपको एक सिंपल सी बात बताऊं, अभी जो डिबेट हो रही है ना, अभी जितने पैनलिस्ट हैं, मैं हूं, आप हैं, सारे लोग हैं, अगर मैं यहाँ पे 3 गालियां दे दूं ना अभी, तो ये डिबेट वायरल हो जाएगी हर न्यूज चैनल पे. ये मैं अच्छी तरह जानता हूं. कई लोगों को ये अंदाजा होता है. मैं किसी की क्रिएटिविटी पे कोई सवाल नहीं उठा रहा. मैं खुद क्रिएटिव काम करना चाहता हूं. कई बार ऐसा होता है कि मुझसे छोटी मोटी गलतियां हो गई हैं, लेकिन मैं बैक ऑफ द माइंड मुझे मालूम रहता है, मैं इतना जिम्मेदार हूं. मैं पिछले 15 साल से कंटेंट बना रहा हूं कि इस कंटेंट का असर क्या हो सकता है लोगों पे। आई नो कई लोग इस पे भी बहुत गलत समझते हैं कि मैं अगर उनको ये समझाऊं, गाली देना कंटेंट नहीं होता। अगर गाली देना कंटेंट है ना, तो मेरे गली के हर कोने पर कंटेंट क्रिएटर भरे हुए हैं, और ऐसे ऐसे कंटेंट क्रिएटर भरे हुए हैं जिनको सिर्फ प्लेटफॉर्म मिले, माइक मिले, वो आग लगा देंगे। अगर इसी तरह की चीज लोगों को पसंद आ रही है, और मैं इसमें सिर्फ रणवीर की गलती या फिर समय की गलती नहीं मानता, जो लोग इनको बढ़ावा दे रहे हैं, आई डोंट नो उनको क्या चीजें पसंद आ रही हैं। जोक कहां पे था मेरी समझ में नहीं आया। चलिए मैं अगर ये मान लूं कि कोई बिलो द बेल्ट बात कही गई, लेकिन उसमें कम से कम जोक होना चाहिए। मुझे कहीं जोक नजर नहीं आया। ट्रस्ट मी, कई लोगों को यह अंदाजा हो गया है कि जेंजी जो है वो यही चाहती है। अब मैं ये बार बार ये सोचता रहता हूं कि क्या ये गलती उस कंटेंट क्रिएटर की है, या मैं सबको कहूं कि सब ऐसी सोच रखने लगे कि मैं अगर 5 गालियां दे दूं अभी तो ये चीज वायरल हो जाएगी। मैं अगर लड़की के बारे में उल्टा कह दूं, उसके कपड़ों के बारे में उल्टा कह दूं, तो वो वायरल हो जाएगा। इतनी जिम्मेदारी तो ये लोग लें, और मुझे मालूम है सब लोग, हम इंडिया के जितने लोग हैं, जिस तरह की अपब्रिंगिंग है, ये जोक जो क्रैक किया गया है, कभी जिंदगी में हम अपने नॉर्मल घर में बैठकर, मैं अपना काम छोड़ दूंगा, अगर हम नॉर्मली कभी अपने पेरेंट्स के साथ बैठ के, पेरेंट्स भी छोड़िए, रिश्तेदारों के साथ बैठ के ऐसा जोक क्रैक नहीं कर सकते। हाँ, हमें मालूम है अगर कि मैं यूट्यूब पे ये बात कहूंगा तो 1 घंटे में 10 मिलियन मेरे पास आ जाएंगे। सो दिस इज सो सैड कि सिर्फ इसी वजह से अगर इस तरह के शो चल रहे हैं, तो वो बहुत गलत बात है। हाँ, उनको जिम्मेदारी लेनी चाहिए। वो ये नहीं कह सकते कि मुझसे ऐसा हो गया। देखिए, ये जब आपको मालूम है कि इस शो में जहां जा रहे हैं आप, वहां पे ऑलमोस्ट बातें ऐसी होती हैं, और मैं ये भी मानता हूं कि जेंजी उसको पसंद करता है, तो आप कम से कम इतनी जिम्मेदारी लीजिए कि आप प्रिपेयर होके जाएं, फिर बाद में ये ना कहें कि मुझसे गलती हो गई।
यू नो कि ये होना है। गए थे, प्रिपेयर होकर गए थे, यूट्यूब से उठाया एलन वर्सेस सैम, प्रिपेयर होकर गए थे, याद करके गए थे, एंड विच इज व्हाई दिस अपॉलजी रिंग्स हॉलो। एंड तहसीन, आई वांट टू आस्क यू, you're his friend.
Yep.
You're his friend. You've been on his show.
Yep.
Probably you talk to each other 5 times a day, which is fine.
5 times, but I spoke to him a couple of times today.
Today?
Yep.
Now I want to ask you, when I showed you the YouTube clip from where his statement has been picked up.
Yeah.
Number one, he's not a creator, he's a copier. Photocopier, copier of content, he's not even original. Distaste and apology rings hollow because this was done deliberately to try and make an innocent face. And I actually like the guy. He's got a nice face, nice presence, talks well. Some of the interviews, I haven't seen all. I've seen some clips of some of these shows. But this really crosses the line. And Tehseen Poonawalla, don't give me that sweet, innocent look and say, poor guy made an error of judgment. He didn't. He did it deliberately.
Fair. He did it deliberately. He picked up content that was not good, copied it. He's apologized for it. It's not led to violence. And I agree with Abhijit. The line is only violence. There are singers, Navika ji, who glorify drugs and violence. My friends, Abhijit's met my friends who are fighting drugs. There are singers who glorify violence. They are being felicitated by certain political parties. They are stars today. High Court has said have regulations. They are glorifying violence. There are actors and producers who make soft porn. By the way, if we are so culturally sensitive, India is the largest consumer of porn in the world. I'm not justifying it. I am saying everyone here is being a hypocrite. I don't agree with what he said. The joke was crass, even copied. He needs to apologize. He's apologized. Maybe he's not sincere. You know, there's content on Instagram where mothers and kids are doing all sorts of rubbish things. So here's the solution. Again, Abhijit is right. The parents can police their children. If they have a smartphone, you have parental control. Number 2, you can have a regulation like Australia where kids below 16 cannot be on social media. You can have that, but you can't have the government interfering. You can't have people filing police complaints and saying he's a terrorist and go 20 years in jail. Ma'am, I'm asking you one question. There's a poet, sometimes he's a politician. He spoke filth about Saif Ali Khan's child. Why is there no outrage there? Because that is not abusive, but somebody's child you're wishing death upon? The poet? So I am just saying, this is hypocrisy. India is the largest consumer of porn in the world because there's a market for it. I don't justify, I think it's crap, but it is happening.
I'm not sitting here sanctimoniously trying to say that porn should not be watched.
One of the most incestuous countries on earth. One of the highest levels of incest is in India.
So Ranveer Allahbadia is right in doing what he did.
No, he's apologized.
सबको डालो ना जेल में. You throw in jail everybody who's engaging in incest.
You know,
You're
Abhijit,
comparing the act of incest to
Abhijit and
talking about incest.
Tehseen, my case tonight is, my legitimate question was not should Beer Biceps be in jail. My legitimate question is, has he crossed a Laxman Rekha? And I'm discussing only the Laxman Rekha. Simply because I live in this constant pressure of TRPs every single day, because on television, on broadcast channels, there is a weekly TRP score that comes. Now, should I throw caution to the wind? Should I throw my responsibility? I can also stand, scream. Many channels do that. They say all kinds of things. I'm a journalist. I'm not just a content. 1 minute, let me finish. 1 minute.
It has lost credibility. You are not.
I'm not. I haven't mentioned any name. I'm just saying we carry that responsibility on our shoulders. Self-regulation, just common sense is something we carry on our shoulders every single day. Suhail said, are content creators, influencers free from that responsibility? Because they want views and subscribers, they can say anything because there is no regulation, and I am not a proponent of regulation. What about self-regulation and responsibility?
So 4 or 5 things, and I've waited too long. I don't want any interruption. Number 1, do you think our politicians and other people in public life speak with decency? They don't. They're abusing each other. They're calling each other names. They're saying nasty things about each other. So what kind of examples are you setting? Number 1. Number 2, I think Ranveer Allahbadia, if this is his level of comedy, he should self-incriminate and kill himself for just bad wit. But then he has 20 million subscribers. What does that say about those 20 million's brain? Have they lost it? The answer is yes. We are dumbing down as a country. We're dumbing down as a society. If 20 million people are willing to laugh at such putrid humor, it says a lot about their brand of intelligence and their upbringing and their parenting. Number 3, as of now, there is no law. Either you create a law or you let this be a wild jungle. There is no such thing as partial pregnancy. Navika, I want you to remember one quote, my dear. It was by Justice John Marshall Harlan. Now, the problem is half the people in our country don't read, so they won't know. He famously said in a case, Cohen versus California, one man's vulgarity is another man's lyric. This is John Marshall Harlan. Now, you and I have come from a different background, different upbringing. We believe that there is a certain decorum, certain ecosystem. Gaurav Taneja rightly said, he says, we will not say this in front of our rishtedar. Naved very rightly said, hum apne parents ke samne ye nahi kahenge. But there's a whole world out there which thinks it's liberal, it's woke, it's hip to discuss all these things with their parents, their rishtedar. You become liberal. Parents are encouraging this nonsense because they say, oh, I want to be a friend of my child's. So that's the 3rd. The 4th, you tell me, at this level of debasement, you will only have the vultures coming out. What will the vultures want? They will want your scalp. Yeah. They will want your head. Yeah. What will happen is operation will be successful, patient will be dead. So you think you will root out the evil? You won't. You will encourage more people. You will encourage people to go on the dark web and say this. Then I'll tell you what will happen, Navika. They will then create an underground movement. You remember in the good old days, we had ham radios, which were initially used to circumvent military programming. This is what you will do.
No, so what is your suggestion? Your suggestion is we just sit back, either enjoy this nonsense and wait for people to come out and apologize and get, go back to being normal.
Ridiculous. Apology, he's saving his skin. And he's saving himself from a lynch mob. So that's his problem. I don't care about Ranveer Allahbadia. He's only a symptom of the malaise that has set in. Yeah. My solutions are as follows. A, if civil society doesn't have the encouragement and the support system of genuine knowledge, genuine wit, satire, this is what you're going to produce. Number 2, if you create any form of censorship, you will open yourself to a plethora of objections. Number 3, if you file cases against these people, it will make them bigger heroes. More and more people will go to this chap's channel, whatever the channel is called, Bicep or whatever, beer or whatever. Why insult such a great drink like beer? I don't know. Number 4, you will then also create, Navika, polarization of the kind we don't need. The law in this country, we have more laws than functioning traffic lights. Do you need another law, or do you need more awareness?
Certainly not. And I hate the word censorship. I'm a journalist. I want freedom of speech. I fight for freedom of speech. But Gaurav Taneja, does it mean that all this is kosher? We should not make too much of we should not make too much of a song and dance because the vultures will come out. What is the solution if these so-called creative content creators don't self-regulate? What is the solution, Gaurav Taneja?
ये अपने आप मर जाएंगे.
Yeah, people will
अपने आप मर जाएंगे. 15 करोड़ लोग उन्हें देख रहे हैं, अपने आप मर जाएंगे. We should wait for that. And you know, this whole parenting and we are our friends. Yes, I'm a friend of my child. But sometimes I don't know what they do in their private life. They are impressed. And these people are icons of the youth. So Gaurav Taneja, what is the solution?
What does the government do?
I don't want the government coming in.
So
why is Ranveer Allahbadia putting at risk an entire ecosystem by doing this completely ill-thought of thing, and doing it deliberately?
So why is an entire mob now going after him and wanting to hang him? Because he did something that was stupid at best. Has he killed somebody, hurt somebody? He made stupid comments. Few people are offended by it. So how is that justified throwing him to jail?
Okay, Gaurav Taneja. Coming to you, ma'am.
It can only be self-regulated.
Yeah.
You cannot put a censorship on something like YouTube. Ranveer and other creators, they are very senior creators. They have a responsibility. यूथ को नाविका क्या है, दिस इज अ एज वेयर यू वांट टू बी रेबेलियस.
करेक्ट.
आजकल पता नहीं इतने ज्यादा लोग वोक और लिबरल हो गए हैं. इफ यू सी ओटीटी प्लेटफॉर्म्स, दे हैव सेंशुअलाइज्ड द रिलेशनशिप विद भाभीज एंड चाची, स्पेशली प्लेटफॉर्म्स लाइक ऑल्ट बालाजी एंड ऑल. पीपल थिंक इट इज कूल, यूथ थिंक इट इज कूल. उसको लव के नाम पे, प्यार के नाम पे, बॉडी नीड के नाम पे सब कुछ जस्टिफाई कर रहे हैं. देयर हैज टू बी अ लाइन एंड I am still shocked. I cannot process this information. Ranveer is a sensible guy. Why he said this is beyond. I cannot think why he said this. There has to be self-regulation.
Absolutely, self-regulation. Deepika,
India is a land of adhyatma.
Should it stop at self-regulation? I do not support the lynch mob. I do not support censorship. But content creators are not babies. Are not babies that oh galti ho gayi, There are consequences. Every action has a consequence. And I'm not talking about consequence of throwing somebody in jail. But should there be no consequences?
Navika, I don't think so. There are any consequences but to get more popularity today. Every popularity, even negative popularity, is popularity. When you spoke about Laxman, Rekha, let me in fact pose this question to you only, Navika. What are we actually seeing on our screens today, on Instagram today? There are mother-son sleaze videos available. And you spoke about the name of a woman, I don't want to name her, but there is shedding of clothes to all levels to go viral. And today all of these videos are garnering millions and millions of views. So why Laxman Rekha is being asked specifically in this case? I think Ranveer is being targeted because he is a very, very popular creator. Whatever he said is absolutely wrong. But like Gaurav rightly said, what about Alt Balaji? What about Ullu apps? What about Instagram serving sleaze and amplifying those sleazes? What about all of these platforms amplifying those sleazes? And authorities do not take a stand over them. I will tell you a case, Navika. I filed an FIR last year. There was a 21-year-old girl called Shikha Maitre. She was asking young boys to sexually abuse toddlers. And when police asked her why you were doing it, she said, because I wanted more followers. So what are we telling our generation is the more followers you have, the more viral you go, the more popular you become. That is the only thing to follow. That is the only thing to chase. And I don't want to offend anyone, but there are thousands of issues in this country of 140 crore people, but we are discussing this, I don't think so, very important topic today because there is viewership. Everybody wants to talk about this topic, whereas we have so many issues in the country. It is because every channel wants TRP. And just like all channels want TRP, all the creators want views and they want to go viral.
My friend, it's very good of you to say that. It's very good of you to say that, and you're free to assume whatever you want to. But you know, there is a certain responsibility when there is a controversy. You know, what is news? There is a controversy. It has upset a few people. There are FIRs. This is, as far as I'm concerned, a classic case of reporting news, debating news, and getting social opinion in. Now, if you think that is being done only for TRPs, that's your call. That's your call. Please feel free. But I want to get in. I want to get in, sir. Ma'am, we discuss every single day, every day. If you think that my job stops only at discussing elections, budgets, well, it doesn't. I will pick up social issues when I feel. And it is mine. And it's not about virality. I may not get any views. I don't know in advance whether I'll get views or TRP or not. But I think it's an important issue simply because I am a mother. And I have been watching youngsters. Youngsters consume this. I've had a newsroom where there has been a debate. When there is a debate organically coming in, I'm not going to be an ostrich and shut my eyes. You're welcome to do that. But Satyam Surana, and if you thought it was so unimportant, maybe you shouldn't have been here. If you thought we were doing this for TRP, why help me? Help your own cause. But I thought it was an issue of interest and I picked it up. It's my call. But Satyam Surana, is it because we think it is getting TRP, so we are discussing? Is there an issue about these content creators? Is there an issue of self-regulation? You filed a case. Why do you want jail? Don't you think this is an issue more of a social debate than just demanding jail for people who may have erred on the side of, throwing caution to the winds?
Navika, the entire issue is the mentality with which these statements were made. I have posted another video on my Twitter wherein I have confronted Samay Raina, and in his conversation with me, he has accepted that comedy has no responsibility. Tomorrow, if someone wants to come and shoot a porn video on his channel, on his platform, he will welcome it, and that will lead him to more views, and the internet will boom.
Somebody wants to shoot a porn, therefore he will welcome it. Therefore today
these are filing not my words, Tehseen. These are Samay Raina's words.
No,
these are not my words.
How far will we go to just be cool?
Is
this also a malaise that Suhail Seth was talking about? Because all of us want to be cool. It's cool to talk about.
Let me complete, Navika. Let me complete, please.
What is happening? 1 minute, Satyam. You keep saying Gen Z, Gen A, Gen B. There are Gen idiots and there are Gen intelligent people. The Gen idiots will always be larger in number. It's in every society. So please don't equate generational intellect with any of this programming and all that. The real matter here is, Navika, you will never do what an Allahabadia does. Allahabadia will never do what you do. You have a certain ecosystem that you're catering to. You have a certain set of values and beliefs that you believe in. Ranveer Allahbadia, whatever the hell his name is, believes in a certain ecosystem and a certain set. Both are attractive to their own
I agree
ecosystem.
with you, Suhail, and Abhijit. I'm not competing with his ecosystem. We have different ecosystems. That's fine. He can live in his ecosystem, I can live in mine. I'm not even that. I'm happy to engage with him. After all, all youngsters, all generations should be people we interact with. I'm not being judgmental. I'm just saying this was not a mistake, not an error of judgment, because it was deliberately done. And secondly, my question is, how far will we go just to appear cool? Because your content creators, don't you have a responsibility on your shoulders? Is the basic question. I don't want anybody to go to jail. I don't want censorship at all. But is there any responsibility on them or not? I want an answer to that.
They do have a responsibility, Navika. They do have a responsibility.
Abhijit, the question is to you.
Look, their responsibility is up to them. There are parents who will sit with their kids 24/7. There are parents who will outsource the upbringing to the ayah. There are parents in Europe and America who will not leave their kids alone. When they have to go out, they will leave it to someone. Now, I used to get slaps galore. My dad and my mom never hesitated to slap me, and I thank them for it because it made me a better kid. I genuinely say that, right? But there are some parents who take it overboard and become abusive parents. Right now, this is left up to the individual. This is a classic comedy show, and as I see it, Ranveer was trying to entertain the audience with something that they clearly found funny. Now, I never go for comedy shows. The only comedy shows the only funny shows I feel are Yes Minister, Yes Prime Minister, old British things. Correct. Which, if I tell people that, they're like, "Abe tu kya Baba Azam ke zamane ka hai? Tu 70 saal ka Buddha hai."
It's true. I mean, yeah, it is my weekend viewing, but yes, I'm Buddha, you are not. You're young.
I'm Buddha. I'm not youth feet. I'm not 56-year-old youth.
But left to themselves, everybody can do what they have, freedom, all right. But, every action has some consequences. And those consequences not necessarily mean jail. The consequences can also mean that you carry more responsibility on your shoulders. Otherwise, RJ Naved with me entertains millions of people on Radio Mirchi every single day. He can get into abuses, can't you, RJ Naved? कम तो नहीं आते हैं, हमारी जनरल नॉलेज में काफी है.
नहीं, एक चीज मुझे जो बहुत अजीब लग रही है ना, मैं मान सकता हूँ कि गलती हर इंसान से हो सकती है. कंटेंट क्रिएटर भी एक इंसान है. ऐसा नहीं है कि वो रोबोट है और उसमें कोई आपने कमांड भर दी और वो ऐसे ही करेगा. ऊपर नीचे हो सकता है, लेकिन एक चीज जो मुझे बहुत अजीब लग रही है कि अगर कुछ गलत है, मिसाल के तौर पे किसी ने किसी के चांटा मार दिया, तो ये नहीं कह सकते कि वो भी तो चांटा मारता है, इसको क्यों बोल रहे हो, वो भी तो चांटे मारते हैं. ये कहना बहुत गलत है किसी को भी डिफेंड करने के लिए. गलती है तो गलती है. और मैं इसको, अगर आप मानते हैं कि एक रेगुलेटर लगाना चाहिए, अगर नहीं लगा हुआ, बहुत सारी चीजें दुनिया में जिसमें रेगुलेटर नहीं लगा हुआ है, लेकिन एक दिमाग है, एक कॉमन चीज है जिसको सोच सकता है आदमी. हर चीज पे रेगुलेटर लगा देंगे तो जिंदा नहीं रह पाएंगे. मैं पैदल चल रहा हूं, ये रेगुलेटर तो नहीं लगा हुआ ना, किसी का अड़ंगी मार दो गिरा दो, ये कोई रेगुलेटर नहीं है ना, ये गवर्नमेंट ने नहीं बनाया. कुछ चीजें हैं जो समझदारी के साथ हमें जिम्मेदारी लेनी चाहिए कि ठीक है, व्यूज हर किसी को पसंद है, मुझे भी पसंद है. मेरे कुछ वीडियोस पे मिलियंस ऑफ व्यूज आते हैं. मैं गलती जब होती है उसको मानता, ये नहीं कह सकता कि नहीं यार उसने भी तो गलती करी थी ऐसी, इसने भी तो, या फिर अगर मैं
bang on Naved, I completely agree with you. We have to take responsibility for the content that we create, and we can't just say, oh, it was a mistake, sorry. In this case, it wasn't even a mistake. It was deliberate, picked up, cut, copy, paste, done knowingly. In which case, I really am running out of leeway to somehow forgive him for this one, because, sorry.
But no jail.
Sorry.
And no hanging.
Of course not. Of course not. Of course not. But, well, it's a debate. Leave it to you, ladies and gentlemen, to send us your views, because it's a social issue. And as a society, we must make up our minds which side of this debate we stand on. Well, we leave it at that. Thank you very much to all my panelists for joining me.